All right, well, welcome everybody.
My main thing is like getting a stomach bug. And it was like if I get a cold, I could get sick. If I get the flu, I could get sick. Walk around like this all the time. So I wouldn't touch anything. Door handles were a definite no. Even in my own home, wouldn't touch the door handles. Literally, my hands lived in my sleeves. I wouldn't touch anything with my bare hands.
The woman that you just saw in the video took part in a emetophobia workshop I did over a year ago. I took 8 people with emetophobia and I took them through a 10-week workshop. And then I recorded it. And that workshop is now available for people to watch. I am so excited to take you on this journey, this 10-week workshop.
When you have a kid and you don't know if it's contagious and you have to be there, it's like being locked in a box.
Oh, like what if I throw up? What if I'm like freaking, what if I'm just freaking out and no one can talk me out, you know?
And usually I just cry in the shower a lot. And then like I don't eat for a week because I'm so scared.
Biggest obstacle for me is probably planes. My boyfriend's American, so it's kind of based on a 9 hour flight.
If I like touch the fridge, I'll then wash my hands again. If I pull out my chair, I'll wash my hands before I eat.
I've invited a former client and she suffered with emetophobia and OCD.
She was basically telling my story. Even in my own home, nothing was safe to my mind. Door handles, definitely not. I would open doors with my feet or, yeah, hands in sleeves, like she said. I'd have to come home and scrub my hands, and I'd scrub like halfway up my arms. I'd wash my hands and I'd go, oh, I didn't do it well enough. And I'd have to do it again and again and again.
Gia avoids crowds and touching things in public. But when she can't, she feels very uncomfortable and anxious and germy. To eliminate the uncertainty, Gia tries to control the situation by washing her hands frequently. And after washing thoroughly, she feels more certain and comfortable. But the cycle starts again, and she's anxious, and she's got to wash her hands. And then she feels relief, and then she's got to do it again and again. And she starts to think, I haven't thrown up in 10 years. It must be because everything I'm doing to protect myself is working. This is working. And this is called the illusion of control. You think that you are controlling the situation by doing all of these safety behaviors. After all, you haven't thrown up in a very long time. When was the last time you threw up?
Say 13 years ago.
You have been, I would say, emetophobia free for about 2 years, and you haven't been doing safety behaviors for at least 2 years, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And have you thrown up in the last 2 years?
Not once.
Not once. Okay.
It does not make any difference.
So
Like
you've been,
you get that voice in the back of your head saying, "Oh, but if this makes logical sense, I'm gonna keep myself from getting sick this way." No, no, you're not.
in ERP, you expose yourself to what you fear and then prevent yourself from doing what you usually do. As an example, you would touch things, you would feel the discomfort and the uncertainty, and then you would refrain from washing your hands or sanitizing your hands. There was 8 people, a course that you saw in the beginning, and one of them, she talked about how she has a boyfriend in the United States, and she was terrified to fly. That was her main reason for joining the course, was to overcome her fears that had to do with flying, and she did great. She flew, came all the way to Los Angeles, and said, "Well, you're coming here, I might as well meet. And I'll take you out for lunch." So I took her and her boyfriend out to lunch and had a nice chat. She did not focus on her fears of germs. So when we were leaving, I noticed that she didn't want to touch the crosswalk button and said, "Oh, this is a perfect time to do some exposure work."
How do you feel?
Gross. My hands feel like they have the germs crawling all over them.
So you face your fears in a gradual way by taking small steps, but frequent steps. And then you learn that you can handle the uncertainty and you can handle the discomfort. And then you learn if your worries come true. These are like mini experiments. Like, will you get sick? Over time, worries naturally subside and living becomes easier. You went through this process, and
Yeah.
how did you do it?
Yeah, so I started with what was easiest for me, what caused me the least distress. So I started to touch things like doorknobs. I'd open doors with my hands. I'd flush the toilet with my hands instead of using my foot.
So now it's been 6 months. How are you today? Let's start with germs.
So now in my own home, I always have my hands out of my sleeves. I feel it's safe enough at home and out and about as well. I'm pretty much okay with touching anything. As long as I know I can wash my hands before I eat, I know that nothing's going to get me through my skin. So now I wash my hands after I go to the bathroom, and I wash my hands before I eat, and when I get home from being at the hospital or at uni, and that's kind of it.
How are you doing now, Emily? Tell us a little bit about what's it like for you now, just going about your day.
It's like I don't even think about it anymore. I don't think about emetophobia and I don't think about germs.
So what about this? You go to a restaurant,
Mhm.
and then they hand you the menu,
Mhm.
and then you order the food, and then they bring you the food. Will you then eat it?
Oh, I see. Yes, I would. In the past, I wouldn't
Mhm.
because I had touched the menu first.
So yeah, I want you to start questioning what you think. Because currently what you think is, I can prevent myself from vomiting by doing all these safety behaviors. But start thinking other things like, my sister touches everything, goes everywhere, and hasn't vomited in 20 years. Is catching a stomach bug as easy as we imagine?
Recently, I have definitely started to realize that not every germ or piece of dirt is gonna make me sick. My best friend, we go into London quite a lot where we use the underground or the subway. And my friend is like a chronic nail biter. Like she's always biting her nails. And she always says to me, whenever I was worried about getting sick, she was like, just think about me on the tube. And she goes around on the tube. She will hold onto the rails, push all the buttons, and then I see her sat on the chair and she's biting her nails. And I'm like, oh my God. But she has not got a stomach bug since she was a child, and she's like 22 now.
Thank you guys so much. I want to open it up to questions.